All right, good evening, everyone. We are getting ready to start our board meeting of the Board of Registrations and Elections. Today is July 19th, and we are going to have our invocation at this time at Dr. Coates.
Let us pray. Lord, we just come to you on a day in the middle of a year that has been rather tumultuous, and we just thank you for allowing us to be a part of the leadership in this county and allow us to serve those whom we do serve. And we just ask you for the discernment that we'll make the right decisions and be representatives of your love and of fair justice to all concerned. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Item number 3 is our approval of minutes of June 21, 2021. You should have all received a copy of the minutes and reviewed them. If you have, what do we hear on behalf of that?
I move that the minutes be approved as emailed and read.
Okay.
Second.
It has been motioned and second that the minutes be approved as read by way of email. All in favor of that motion, let me know by aye.
Aye.
Any opposes or corrections? Then the minute stands approved. Item number 4 is to certify July 13, 2020 special runoff election. Ms. Nickerson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and board members, we have submitted to you the election summary report, which shows that the total voters registered in District 2, 9,794. The voter turnout for this runoff was 6.62. Absentee ballots the office mailed out was 156. 82 were accepted back in the office. Advanced voting, we had 101 individuals come out between the Tuesday, July 6th through Friday, July the 9th. And we'd ask that you certify the official totals that we've submitted to you, the official and complete reports of the statement of votes cast as well. We did not have any provisional ballots on election day.
Okay. All right.
Need a motion to accept to certify it?
We can have a motion to, yes, to accept the report.
Yeah, I move that we certify the election per the report.
Okay.
Second.
So moved and second that the report of the election be accepted and certified at this time. All in favor, let me know by aye.
Aye.
And we will sign.
Point of information, Ms. Nickerson, how does that, I kept looking through the information and I was away last week, so I didn't really get to study what you sent me email-wise, but how does that compare with the first election, percentage-wise of voters? Do we have more or less, or?
It was less.
That's what I thought.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. I'm going to turn it over to our Vice Chairman, Mr. Hand, at this time.
Okay, good afternoon. At this time, the floor is open for public comment, if there be any. I see no one has come forward, and so that being the case, then we will turn the things back over to you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, sir.
Bishop Williams.
Thank you. Item number 6 is our supervisor's report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and board members, we were able to report that all 6 precincts, everyone was in their precinct on time, that they were open and ready for their first voters at 7. We also want to note that we greatly appreciate the Dougherty County School System, Facilities Maintenance Department. They allowed our poll workers to utilize the cafeteria at Lamar Reese Elementary School due to air conditioner issues, and they notified us in advance, and that was not a large change from the gym, so we were able to direct voters without any issue. So we appreciate that. Also, we want to thank the Mount Zion precinct. They also have done they've done some updates to the facility. The floor looks great. The air conditioner was running. It was very cool in there on election day. And also they supplied our workers with snacks.
Awesome.
So those precincts, and we also went by the other precinct was Carvertine or Driscoll Sports Park. We went by there to check on them because we were fortunate that we were able to secure a manager from a precinct that was closed to work at that location for us, and everything went smoothly.
Wonderful. Okay. That would be it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Item number 7 is our future planning, municipal elections. I know, are you going to speak on that? Or go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Yes, sir. Just that we know that the municipal election is next on our agenda. We will be establishing qualifying times for the November 2nd municipal general. We know that there are wards 2, 3, and 5 that are involved in this election. Of course, the qualifying dates have been established by the Secretary of State. They are Monday, August the 16th through Friday, August the 20th. Times will be determined and advertised by our office before the mandatory deadline, which is Monday, August the 2nd. So we have a week of qualifying for municipal elections, and there are wards 2, 3, and 5 that are involved in this election. There is a possibility for a total of 12 precincts to be open. And the reason we say that, of course, with municipal elections, that if the incumbent qualifies to run for office and no one qualifies to run against them, the law deems that they have voted for themselves and they are declared the winner, and there is no election. So if any one of those wards qualify and they have no opposition, there would not be an election. But between the 3 wards, there are 12 precincts that could possibly be open if there's opposition in all 3 wards. We also know that the last day to register to vote for this election will be Monday, October the 4th. And advanced voting period would be Tuesday, October the 12th through Friday, October the 29th. Senate Bill 202 made 2 changes to this election process. No voting on a state holiday. So that Monday, October the 11th is actually Columbus Day. So that is why it would not begin until Tuesday, October the 12th. And we also will have 2 mandatory Saturdays of voting for this election. Those dates are Saturday, October the 16th, and Saturday, October the 23rd. And the law dictates, is it 9 to 5, Miss? 9 to 4, 9 to 5. The operating hours shall be from 9 a.m. until 5 o'clock on those 2 Saturdays.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What are the hours on the weekdays for early voting?
We generally keep them the same when we advertise them. It'll generally be 8:30 to 5 is what we generally always do.
Okay. Any other questions from any of the board members? In way of item number 8, there are a couple things I want to bring before the board. One of the things that I would like to the board to take consideration of is poll workers are getting paid entirely too late after their services. It's been a problem. I've been sitting on this board for multiple years, and they work, some of them needs their money, and it be sometime a week or 2 before they get their pay. I think, and I have spoken to one of the county reps, voicing my opinion that their pay should be readily available. And I think it is within their power to get it done. I know they're saying it's not, but I think if we have some discussion of it to give some clarity as to why. Because certainly a lot of the people that work for us is always grumbling about how long it takes them to get paid, and I think that's a personnel thing. But I think we should push for them to expedite their pay. I really think that is the humane thing to do, and I think we just should do it. And I think we should be able to make that request. And I would like for us to take a moment to open the floor just to get your opinion about it. Of course, we need to stand united on that front. So what do y'all think about it?
Well, I think if it's a problem, we need to solve it.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Ginger, is there a reason why it's taking so long to pay them? And I know you may not be able to give me the exact process and time, but if you had to give an opinion on it, what would it be?
All of our payroll is processed through Dougherty County Finance.
Right.
So if they work on a Tuesday, and it's always somebody's payroll week, we have to wait on finance to process it. We don't process payroll, we submit it. Now, to their credit, the poll workers don't always do what they're supposed to do in terms of submitting their paperwork, making sure they have an employee number. There have been times in the past where we've tried to hold back on paying until everybody's submitted to pay everybody, and then we still move forward. But this time we paid them within a week, which is about the normal, because if it's on a payroll week for us, it's on a Friday, then finance is paying all of Dougherty County. And they work very well with us and very rapidly in returning, getting the checks out. But that is the way the process works. We submit our payroll to Dougherty County Finance, and finance processes the payroll for us.
So the issue would be with Dougherty County Finance.
I don't know if we would call it an issue, because they wouldn't be able to process it any sooner than they do with all the other duties. So they process it in a timely manner. It's not that they let it sit, but they can only process once they've completed whatever payroll. If they have a monthly payroll, a weekly payroll to run, they process it immediately. The payroll before the last, they processed it in one day. The next day it was available. So I don't know, this is my first time hearing, I don't know how speedy they would want to receive their checks. But that would be a discussion we would have to have with the finance department. I don't know, because I can't tell you I can't say that they can get paid the next day.
Right. That's why I say, well, I would be willing that we need to have that conversation with them, just because I understand what you're saying, Ms. Nicholson, but this has been a constant complaint. I don't know. I would like to see, as a board member, some of the other counties, how early do they get theirs, number one, and then I would like to exhaust every effort to see, can we get them their funds a little earlier. I'm really sensitive to that, and if we can't, we can't, but I think maybe we could. And I can go on and on, but somebody else want to jump in right here?
I'm trying to understand. What Ginger said depends on where the election day is in the pay cycle that the finance committee is already dealing with. Sometimes it would be sooner, sometimes it would be later. That's what I took away from what Ginger said.
I did too. I was just thinking we could put a file under that.
Yeah, and just to sort of get my voice in the room on the issue, I'm sure that some of us as board members would get more attention, I use that term, than others as it relates to these types of items. But if I've gotten that same request or complaint from some of the workers at sometimes they don't get paid in a timely manner. And really, for the most part, I hadn't really said anything about it until recently. One of the county commissioners approached me about it. And of course, my response to him was that you would probably know more about how the county does their payroll than I do. So of course, when someone at that particular level sort of acts, then, I think it becomes incumbent upon us to at least investigate and see what we can do, at least be able to give an answer to the poll workers when they do ask us those types of questions.
And also, one thing might be when the poll workers are hired, they should be informed that when the payroll papers are turned in, there's a process, and it doesn't just happen because you said, it just got turned in. There's a process.
Oh, yeah,
And so it's the education of the people working, I guess.
Right, I'd agree with that. And we do have some poll workers who's been around a long time when they were given their checks the day of or the day right after they, because checks was already cut. And that was way back under Ms. Hatcher when that kind of thing happened. And so, so you got some of those holdovers who are saying, hey, we used to get paid the day of.
That's been over 20 years ago, because I've been in office 20 years.
But they don't forget.
And we
they
never got
long
paid the
memories.
day of. And the key thing would be also, they're supposed to sign in. They don't. And so we end up paying people and finding out they didn't sign in, or they're complaining because they didn't get paid. Well, you didn't sign in. We can't pay you if we didn't know you were there. Then we have some individuals that complain because they came to training, they didn't work. And yeah, we do get paid them for training. So we have to go back and cut more checks. So when we say a timely matter, I need to know specifically from the board, what are you looking at in terms of time? And I can clearly tell you, but from the calendar, how it's gonna work when the payroll, because I can contact finance and find out when they're doing their payroll and how it flows. But I need to know what is meant by a timely matter. They're not gonna be able to get it the same night because a lot of them come to training, they don't work, and a lot of them don't show up. So we don't pay them unless we know they worked. So, and when we say timely, I need to know it's a week or 3 days, 4 days, because then that way I can tell you from finance's direction how finance works and what is being processed depending on the week, because regardless, they have the same, things that they have to process.
And I do understand that. Well, if you're asking me, I think if they work Tuesday, by Friday, they should have it. I would wish that we could get it to them within 3 days. And I'm glad we're having this discussion so that we would know all that it details about what their responsibilities are to get it. Quite a scholarly theologian said, one thing I use all the time, said that we must not complain with what we allow. And if we allow them to be late doing what they supposed to be doing, I guess they will continue to do it. But at the same time, I didn't know exactly what their requirements was and the timely manner of what they're supposed to get in. We do want to say, if this is what you want, these are the results that you want, then you must meet the standards of what it takes to get that. But so to answer your question from me, one, I think that if they work Tuesday, I would certainly like to see them paid by the weekend. If at all possible, and I know finances may be cringing a little bit and want to get me, but I mean, we just.
Yeah, I don't know what is possible. I'm glad to research it and give you, like I said, the information. The other thing too is with us, they submit on Tuesday night, we're not done. We've still got to go through all their work, make sure they've done everything they're supposed to do, make sure we have everything in. We still got to process provisionals. So it takes us getting our paperwork together for the state before we submit payroll. And if they don't have all their stuff in when we get ready to submit payroll, it becomes a whole nother round that we're looking. It's a lot of detail, because just because they close work one day, we've been working before that day. And then we've got to close out before we start working on their payroll. We've got to make sure we've got all their paperwork. It's not always in the, where it's supposed to be. We've tried to revamp that, to put it in a notebook, to try to bring it together. Sometimes we have to call them up to sign it because they haven't signed like they're supposed to. So it's a lot of steps into getting to where we get to payroll, because we've got to make sure we've got everything we need to submit to the state and submit their payroll, because we don't just, we have to key it in. We have to key in their payroll in an Excel spreadsheet and submit for submission. So we have to have their name and their employee number. So it's a full process. But I will bring back like a detail, like a calendar, to tell you how it works in terms of what, you know, finance is up against, because like I said, they've always worked very well with us. It's not anybody withholding any time frame. As fast as we can get them processed and get it to them, they are very timely about processing the information for us.
Okay, I mean, you know, I'm just, for lack of word, I'm just advocating. And I, once again, you know, that will be, what I'm looking at is why in the world would we have to go through all of that to get them payroll, when payroll is consisted of the hours that they worked. And if they worked, if they were there, doesn't we owe that?
Yeah, we process it. If they've signed in, then we input it. But like I said, everybody they don't sign in either.
Oh, well, see.
Okay, they don't sign in, or either they worked and they haven't been processed, they don't have an employee number. It gets to be a long process. And then there's one that we mailed out the other day, a week ago. It came back a week later, returned. She had to come into our office and get it because of her address. Then we call them as soon as we get it, and we try to hold on to them, but we don't have a vault. So once you're not there by the end of the day, we put it in the mail, then you come up and say, well, I wanted to pick it up. We can't hold on to your check because we don't have a vault, and the manager has informed you that they're ready. So it's a lot more.
And does that fall to the manager, or does that fall to them individually? Because
correct. We put the responsibility on the manager to notify their workers that the payroll is ready.
And signing in, what I mean, is that the manager's job to make sure all her team or their teams sign in? They're not doing that? That's what you're saying?
It's a responsibility. It's the beginning of the process because it's in the book for everybody. Yeah. Once they complete the oaths, all that's in the notebook too.
Okay, okay.
And so what we've noted in the past, even this last election, we counted the number of checks because the manager came to pick up the checks for her people. She passes them out to them. And she was missing one. And ironically, I knew the person off the top of my head because I didn't remember seeing when they called out the names, I didn't hear her name. Okay. And that's the same person that we mailed her check out, and it came back a week later. And I think, did she ever come pick it up? Okay, she finally came and picked it up. But yeah, it's a lot more to it. But I will definitely, what I want to do is definitely pinpoint the weeks, how the process works for them, so we know the turnaround, which is what we had been telling them anyway. At least give us a week, because we know what payroll week is. When it lands on a Friday, we know payroll is working on a Tuesday. They're working to get everything deposited by Wednesday, I think it is. They have to have everything deposited for the county by Wednesday. Payroll is done on Friday. And then they'll start whatever payroll week they're working on. But we can work on getting the schedule so we can at least give them the information. And as I've stated, we've paid them in the past. Last year, we gave them all hazardous pay every pay period. Mm-hmm. And we also gave them extra for this election as well. Yeah. So we're doing everything in our power, and I think everybody is. It may require just a little bit more patience, but we don't mind educating because education is power. So we want everybody to know how it works. We're not trying to delay anyone, right. But we're doing it as expediently as we can. Yeah,
and just for the record, I'm not coming against what you guys are doing. Maybe I knew I needed a little more education to feel comfortable of going back and saying that we are doing all that can be done without me knowing the process. I can't say that in truth until I really know this is what I'm just a little sensitive in this hour with people getting paid for the services they provide. And I just thought it was very noteworthy that the board itself take this discussion to the next level. And so I wanted to make sure we discussed it, look at it, okay?
Okay.
All right, well, I'll wait on that report from you, Ms. Nicholson, and whenever you get it ready. I know you got a lot on your plate to add to it, but that's what I had. And under other business, you may have some, or the board may have some other business.
So we have a written request, and I think you all have a copy of it, from Mr. Williams. Okay, and if you've taken the time to read it, there are two items that he addresses. One is requesting a PowerPoint presentation and to address the closing of precincts. Again, we have not voted to close any precincts, but he makes reference to that in his written communication. And he also requests that a drop box be placed at the Westtown Public Library. And he's requesting that that drop box be funded by the grant dollars that we received from last year's election. So because he requested in writing, I'm sure we at some point have to respond as a board in writing. And so to address the first point, we have not voted to close any precincts. And so I do not think a PowerPoint presentation is necessary since we have not. And so I think we need to respond as it relates to that item. And then as it relates to the drop box, because Dougherty County has under 100,000 people, we can, per the new law, we can only have one drop box. And it just makes sense to have that drop box in the most central location, and that location is in the elections office in this building. I think if we can respond to him in that manner, and if the board chair is okay with that, that we have staff to draft communications to handle that, and you sign it.
I think that it was quite clear through the new laws that came out that we couldn't facilitate that drop box. So I would be in favor of answering this letter with the letter stating why we couldn't. I think that would be the right thing to respond.
Okay.
What says thou? Okay. Pam, Ms. Middleton, what do you think?
Well, I think that sounds the appropriate thing.
Okay, Dr. Corbs?
Yeah, I would definitely sign that letter.
Okay. Ms. Annabelle, you good? All right, Mr. Ann, let's word that for us, and we'll get that. I think we can really respond to that. And the letter, I have two in my hand. I guess the one we're addressing is the one that's also, did you finish that page or you stopped at this one?
One is front and back. July the 2nd is the first submission.
Okay.
It's front and back. And then July 16th. And on the 16th, he states that he's going to make a presentation. And he was going to send it to me to show to the board.
Okay, I got you.
But that's what he stated in his last one.
Okay.
The first one was kind of lengthy. I think it talks about the same things, but we did not receive anything from him, and he did not present himself today.
Okay, all right. So this would be an answer to July 16th, correct? Or, first.
They're similar in what they're stating. Both of them are mentioning the, I believe the drop box, yes, the drop box and the precincts.
And they are also, well, when you answer that, that'd be fine.
I'll have something ready, drafted
Yes,
up by tomorrow, before the end of the week, probably tomorrow.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to share with the board, I hope you all did see the newspaper, we did do a nice article on one of our precinct managers, who's been a manager for over 25 years. She made front page news at the Radium Springs precinct, and they took pictures, and it's a nice article in the Albany Herald on the 13th, I believe it was on, was it the 13th or the 14th newspaper, one or the other. But it was a good story. And a great picture of her and her team.
About the precinct?
About the precinct, about her longevity.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very good publicity. Very
Yes,
good
sir.
article.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. Do we have any other business? Anyone? All right, if there be no other business, it brings us to item number 9, and our next meeting date will be August 18th at our usual time at 4 p.m. And with that being